3, 2, 1.
It's the holidays, it's a political show, it's time to pick out the perfect gift for some of those who've been in the political news this year, whether they deserve it or not. You know, it's been said that President Trump is not that big on reading books, but we think we may have found one for which he might make an exception. After all, it's on one of his favorite topics.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
There must be someone on your list. What would you get President Trump for Christmas?
A hairbrush.
Maybe a comb.
As Massachusetts Senior Senator Elizabeth Warren looks ahead, a reminder that those New Hampshire winters can get pretty chilly, so some practical headgear may be in order, as well as some appropriate and toasty socks. And finally, for popular Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, something to help him stay limber in a job that can twist you in knots, being a Republican governor in a deep blue state. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Ted.
Good gifts.
I have to get
Right.
that Donald Trump pen for you.
Why, Eddie? I thought you liked me.
Come
Come
sit
on.
right there.
You're torturing me.
We have, as you
Come
know,
on.
assembled Santa's favorite elves to the OTR roundtable this morning. Democrat Marianne Marsh is with us and Rob Gray is with us. Thank you very much. Before we dive into the pool, we have a little thing we want to do. Dougie, I want you to dim the lights. Would you dim the lights for me, please? All right. Now, okay.
Ooh,
Give me a countdown, guys. You can give me a 3, 2, 1. And then keep your eye kind of right where, see where the 5 is in the OTR. Ready? Okay, go, guys. Ready, go.
3, 2, 1.
Boom! We have lit the official Christmas tree. Although, I have to tell you, since the passing of Mayor Menino, it's not as special because he used to take such great joy in lighting the Christmas tree here.
He set the record. He set the record for lighting Christmas trees.
Yeah, he did.
Literally.
Charlie
Around
Brown
the
has
city.
nothing on that.
Nothing
tree.
on that tree, right?
that.
Here's a beauty. Huh? That works. That's a
Okay,
beauty.
so now that we have a tree, let's put some gifts underneath it. Marianne, we're going to go with you first. Who are the lucky ones on your list?
Well, Donald Trump, first of all. But I want
Shocking.
my gift to him is a copy of the Constitution. He took an oath to protect and defend the United States and the Constitution. He has broken that oath every single day. That's the bad news. The good news is that same Constitution is going to hold him accountable in 2018 for all of his misdeeds.
And you have a second gift?
Oh, Marty Walsh gets the Good Samaritan Award for offering a job to Bob Carroll, the groundsman at UMass Boston, who's losing his job in a round of cuts, and offered him a job. It's a great way to help people during the holidays.
Rob, how do you fill up the tree?
Well, first, I want to give Mary Ann a gift, which is a Donald Trump voodoo doll.
I have one, but I'll take a second.
And a set of very long pins. Stick in it. My first gift is to Charlie Baker. And to Charlie Baker, I give him nothing because he's already gotten his Christmas gift in the form of the candidacies of Seti Warren and the 2 other candidates running for governor who don't really stand a chance.
And gift number 2.
My gift number 2 is to Elizabeth Warren and Seth Moulton. I give them each an easy pass for their commutes to New Hampshire as they pursue running for presidency instead of doing their job here at home.
Are you suggesting in 2018 they're going to be making the trek up north? Is that what you're suggesting?
More than once.
No,
More than once. A lot of windshield
Very
time.
good. Very good.
Windshield time, that's great.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard Harriet Chandler this morning, the acting president of the Senate. What stuck out in what you heard from her, Marianne?
I think a couple things. One is her very honest admission that there's a cloud now over the Senate and that they have to work really, really hard to make sure that they not only get their agenda done, but try to move through that. So she's the perfect person to lead them through this period, and I think you saw that in the show today.
How about you, Rob?
So what struck me is you had a female Senate president answering your questions about sexual harassment. And I think as we get into this leadership race, it's going to be very hard for the Senate, given the scandal and what's happened, not to elect a permanent female Senate president.
That's an interesting point. And I thought it was also interesting that she thought that there will be other candidates, not just the 4 that are lobbying for votes right now.
Which is another dynamic here. I mean, the fact that the 4 who were out of the gate immediately after this haven't been able to put the votes together, there's a big power vacuum there, and she's navigating it well, but boy, there's going to be a lot of fighting.
The Republicans could tip the balance on this leadership race because
Now that
they have a block
They have
if
7
there are
votes
multiple
now.
candidates,
And
which is interesting.
She didn't say it on the show, but she said it as she was leaving the show, and she's on record as saying that she's not going to permanently take the job.
Right.
But she said that she is a workhorse, not a show horse, which I thought was a very interesting comment that she made.
And I
And
think
ultra.
and all her decades on Beacon Hill has
Yeah.
proven that, I think.
All right, we're still talking about Christmas present. President Trump's Christmas present came a few days early. Listen.
We are making America great again. You haven't heard that, have you?
That was in front of the White House just the other day, despite objections from Massachusetts Democrats, among others. What will the repercussions be in 2018 in the midterm elections? Marianne, let me start with you.
No question, the Republicans lose the House and the Senate because of this. And what's really interesting to me is that Donald Trump and Paul Ryan are acting like two guys who aren't going to be around to deal with the political fallout from their actions and their consequences. They passed a bill that 2/3 of the country opposes from top to bottom in terms of tax cuts, in terms of Obamacare, 9 million kids off of health care. Now they're cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That is not a formula to get anyone reelected to anything.
Rob, do you see the House and the Senate shifting in 2018?
Well, they could, but let's face it, the tax cut is a huge victory for Trump and the Republicans. Now there are two races to define it. The first race is to define it, right? Is it a tax cut for the rich, or does it help the middle class? That's going to be debated, and how that sets in and gels is going to impact the voters. The second race is growth versus the deficit. Will there be growth? And we've already seen Boeing and others come out and say, we're going to reinvest this money in our employees. If that growth seems to accelerate and people's deficit concerns are allayed, the tax cut could be a benefit.
None of that.
Let's switch over to some local politics. We've been talking a lot about the governor's race and the Senate race, but there could be some congressional races, not just the third, that are kind of interesting. Boston City Councilor Ayanna Pressley is talking about running against Congressman Michael Capuano, who is seeking his 11th term next year. Assess her chances here, Rob.
Well, individually, I don't know, but we're starting to see a group of progressive, younger, more diverse candidates challenging older, less progressive, less diverse incumbents. We've seen that now. Some legislative races have challengers. Josh Zakim is threatening to run against Bill Galvin. If they knit it together and it becomes a movement, I think you could see some shakeups in Democratic primaries.
Do you see any success among these younger kids?
Well, Ayanna has always wanted to move up for some time now, and she clearly is looking at 2018 as a wave election where a lot of women are going to win. It's her best shot in terms of an environment. She would have to pick up her game to beat Capuano, but Capuano's going to have to pick up his game too. He hasn't had a challenger in years. His toughest race was when he won the first time 20 years ago. So it's going to be a tough race for both of them, and a real fight. We'll see who's up for it.
We'll continue on the record. Stay with us.